Clownpierce has a new secret PvP strategy, and in this video I show why it's so good, how to do it, and why it's changing PvP forever. So if you want to learn this strat for yourself, watch to the end. Minecraft PvP has been largely popularized in the past couple years with Dream and Technoblade, and the rise of SMPs like LifeSteal and LifeStealSMP. These SMPs have been constantly innovating strategies to become better and outplay their opponents. A few examples of this are harming arrow spamming and cart PvP. And now I believe that one player has created the next best PvP strategy. Hole fighting, created and popularized by none other than the deadliest player himself, Clownpierce. Over the past year in videos by Clownpierce, we've seen when he's outnumbered, rather than doing his normal strategy of picking one target to focus on and creating out his opponents, he chooses to dig down and fight them underground. And as we've seen in his videos, this strategy works surprisingly well, having been able to win almost all of his hole fights. Why it works. This strat is so effective because by going underground it changes three things about the fight. Number 1. Chasing. By digging down you change the way players can follow you, and while underground you can easily divide your opponents and pick them off, basically turning your 3v1 into a 1v1. Number 2. Spacing. Hole fights lower the area for fighting down by 99%, so your opponent's numbers actually get turned against them, as they are more likely to hit their own teammates or just get in each other's way, allowing for you to gain the advantage or escape. Number 3. Disengaging. By being underground, players can't use pearls effectively to escape to heal, so if you get a player low, it's much harder for them to get away. Why this strat is so effective. If you haven't noticed, player PvP skills have been steadily increasing. There's a reason why clips like Clownpierce 1v5ing are less common now. Player skill is increasing, and the same strats of just out-critting your opponents aren't enough anymore. And as boring and as less cinematic as it might be, this may be the best way to put the advantage back in the more skilled player. How to do it. First, you're going to need a pickaxe, a shield, or a water bucket. Webs are optional. There are different strategies to hole fighting, and it mainly depends on how many people there are. If you're outnumbered underground, use a water bucket to get in a crawl one by one, and every block you break, you need to place a block behind you to create spacing. Then continue moving and only stop when you are forced to if they catch up, or if you see a player separated from the group in a vulnerable position. When you turn to fight, you're going to need to focus on shield spamming. If you don't know what that is, basically it's just blocking your enemy's hit and then hitting them before they bring up their shield. Then you just got to keep your health up. The biggest thing is keeping yourself on high health, so when you are trading hits, you come out on top. The strategy for this is to start eating a gap on 8 hearts so you have time to heal. Unless you have gotten more hits on the player, then continue attacking until they die. A quick tip is that you can still crit while crawling, and if you are standing, you can crit in a 2-block tunnel by shifting. Things you shouldn't do. If you are outnumbered, avoid digging just straight down. Otherwise, your hunters will just bow you from above and avoid going into a hole with you.
I don't know.
That's GG's. Don't forget about your armor durability. You still are in an outnumbered fight, so you need to keep an eye on it and repair when necessary. Don't be afraid to try and escape. If the battle is unwinnable, get out. You can always reset the situation until you have the advantage, and if you can't find one, just get away. Alternate strats. Webs. If you have cobwebs, use them. They can be used to slow down your foes or to create a web bubble so you can take a second to heal or open your inventory. Harming arrows. If you have them, these are your friends. Just disable a player's shield and go full machine gun until you drop them. These are an insane tool to have in your arsenal. Alright, now that you know the basics, let me do a demonstration. I start by doing a regular 2v1 strategy and picking one player to focus on and attempting to drop them so I can turn it into a 1v1. When that doesn't work, I go underground, put the advantage back into my favor. Then I use holes to create spacing so I can pick off the weaker player. And finally, I quick drop the weaker player while he's unable to escape in the cave, and then it just becomes a normal 1v1, and eventually the player accepts his defeat. In conclusion, players need to continue innovating in PvP, otherwise they will be passed up. And this strat seems to be the best way to innovate. Thanks for watching. Also, I don't know for sure if Clown is the actual creator of this strat, but he's definitely the one popularizing it. It could be Foray, I don't know. Anyway, subscribe. Thanks, bye.